Get the man some water.
I've got water.
There you go. Put the gum on.
Oh, tragedy.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, thank you for being here today. This week we celebrated Labor Day. And I couldn't think of a better topic to talk about than labor, about jobs for Michigan, and the harmful impact that free trade deals have had on the residents of Michigan and across this country. It's on many of us to make sure that these free trade deals stop and that they never happen again. It means firing Tim Walberg, never opposing a free trade deal in his time in Congress. It means working to get Gretchen Driskell elected so that she can fight against those trade deals that put working families at risk. This issue has hit many of us, many of our family, many of our friends, and in all of our communities. And we felt the impact of these. We need more representatives like Gretchen that will address and that will work on behalf of Michigan families to be their voice, their advocate for a fair trade deal. 7th District doesn't have that right now. 7th District has Tim Walberg, who's voted for every foreign trade deal that's come across his desk. He votes to give tax breaks to companies that ship jobs overseas. So to make it even worse, he incentivizes it. And now he's trying to cover his butt by backtracking on his position on TPP and other free trade deals. But it's too late. We know his voting record, we know what he's about, and we know who he represents. Walberg can say whatever he wants, but his record's clear. Voting with special interest, he's their yes person. The funding his campaign at the expense of working families. That's why it's so important we elect Gretchen Driskell in Congress in the 7th District. Gretchen came out early against TPP, which will put thousands of Michigan jobs at risk. She listens to workers in the district and understands that workers can compete against anyone with a level playing field. Congressman Walberg doesn't get that, and it's time we showed him the door. Michigan workers need a representative that will fight for them, will fight for fair trade policies, and help grow American manufacturing. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce right now Cindy Beck.
Hello, it's great to see so many people here supporting workers, working families, and in support of Gretchen. I live in Eaton County and I'm a constituent of Tim Walberg. However, I do not feel like Mr. Walberg represents me. As a General Motors employee at the Lansing Delta Township plant, I know how important it is to keep Michigan's jobs and manufacturing here in Michigan.
Here in Michigan, we know a thing or two about bad trade deals. All you have to do is look at the numbers. Michigan's trade deficit is a staggering $66.8 billion. That's billion with a B. And it's one of the worst trade deficits in the nation. Even worse, in the 22 years since NAFTA was signed into law, Michigan has lost over 250,000 manufacturing jobs. 250,000. Good paying jobs that used to be in factories here in Michigan. Gone. Now I want to be perfectly clear. Global trade can be a good thing in our economies when countries compete on a fair, level playing field. But we need a trade agenda that's focused on exporting Michigan-made products, not Michigan jobs. And we need leaders in Congress who will do the right thing and oppose bad trade deals when they come up for a vote. Unfortunately, that's not what we've been getting out of Tim Walberg since he's been in Washington. Here are the facts. Trade deal Tim, just like your sign says, has voted for every single trade deal that has come before him in Congress. Don't just take my word for it. Do what I did. Go to the congressional record and check it out. It's right there in black and white. Trade deal Tim supported unfair trade agreements 6 times. 6 times. He voted for the Colombia trade agreement. He voted for the South Korea trade agreement. He voted for the Panama trade agreement. He voted for the Peru trade agreement. He said he still supports NAFTA. And just last year, Walberg voted for fast-track legislation, a legislation that gave Washington a blank check to negotiate and approve the Trans-Pacific Partnership behind closed doors. Now, Walberg has a new TV ad out that says he's against TPP. Where's he been? And he's accusing Gretchen Driskell of lying about his record on trade. Give me a break. If Tim Walberg wants to see who's lying, all he has to do is look in the mirror. Here's the truth. Tim Walberg doesn't give a rip about working people, and his record proves it. He only cares about one thing and one thing only, and that's getting reelected. So if Walberg thinks he can pull a fast one on the people of Michigan, he's in for a rude awakening on November 8th, because there is only one candidate in this race who has strongly and consistently spoken out against unfair trade deals like TPP, and that's Gretchen Driskell. And I can tell you, when we were making calls a long time ago to try and see which of the reps were opposed to TPP, we didn't have to call Gretchen Driskell because she had already been out strong and vocal many, many times against it. And unlike Tim Walberg, Gretchen has a proven track record of voting to protect Michigan's working men and women, and she is committed to building an economy that works for everyone, not just the wealthy and well-connected. It's time to send trade deal Tim packing along with the TPP, and it's time to send Gretchen Driskell to Congress. And now it's my extreme pleasure to introduce the next Congresswoman from the 7th Congressional District, Gretchen Driskell.
Thank you all. First of all, I wanted to start by thanking our speakers for their courage in speaking out today about this important issue. It's voices like theirs that have been instrumental in securing the opportunities working families here in Michigan that we now enjoy. And these opportunities have been put at risk continually by Mr. Tim Walberg, our Congressman's leadership in Washington. As you heard, he has continually voted against every trade deal that has been put in front of him. And it's not surprising that he's running away from this position in his latest ad with his record of supporting bad trade deals that have hurt our hardworking Michigan families. He's doing what typical politicians do to get elected. That's lying. But the fact remains that Walberg has voted for every trade deal that he's had a chance to. As was heard, the Colombia trade deal, the South Korea trade agreement, the Panama and the Peru trade agreement. And these agreements have, the NAFTA, he's expressed support for NAFTA and outsourcing, actually. These agreements have resulted in the loss of tens of thousands of jobs in Michigan and also in the 7th Congressional District. So I think he needs to spend more time at home with his constituents and working and talking to the workers that are being impacted by these trade deals. Also, as we all talked about earlier, he voted to fast-track the TPP, and as soon as that came out publicly, I stood strong with all of our working families here in Michigan and in the 7th Congressional District. This is enough already. We need to get Michigan going again, and this is a time to be standing up and be strong against the voting record of Mr. Tim Walberg. I have a record of fighting for our working families. As a mayor of Saline, I work hard to bring businesses and support our working families, and I also work very much on government accountability and transparency. I will bring those same values to Washington. I'm running for Congress because it's time for everyone in Michigan to have a chance to succeed, not just those with power and access. And unlike Mr. Walberg, I will fight to keep good-paying jobs in Washington. We know how important good-paying jobs are to our middle-class families here. We've seen how difficult it's been in the 7th Congressional District as these jobs get cut or shipped overseas. That's unacceptable, and that's why so many of our neighbors are really concerned and upset with Mr. Walberg. He's more interested in representing his powerful friends in Washington than he is in representing the people that elected him. He's even admitted to being bought and paid for by one special DC interest group. On a debate stage a few years ago, he even agreed that outsourcing is good and necessary for the economy. And now he has a change of heart. Let's see, we have 2 months till Election Day. Walberg knows he's out of step with the district, and that's what he's saying so he can get elected. He's failed our working families, and it's time to put him in permanent retirement. Together, we can stand up against the TPP and bad trade deals with politicians like Walberg that can't be trusted to stand up for our working families here in the Sept. Thank you all so much for coming today. I know we had a little quick change of venue because voting extended a little longer than we thought originally, so I wanted to say thank you so much for coming out and for coming to this location at the last minute. So again, thanks for the time and thanks for all the swing.
Alright, well thank you all. Please see Stephanie if you're interested in volunteering.
I'll bring a microphone.
The other locations.